Hi everyone, Ira Walfish here from the past course. This video is going to be directed towards students from India or Pakistan that have a CA and are now attempting to get their CPA in Canada, and they can go directly to the CFE. What we're going to talk about is Capstone 1. You have a choice of which case to choose, and I'm going to try and give you some direction on which case to choose. I just want to start with a basic premise, which is obviously we want you to pass the first time you write. That is the goal. However, I will be talking about situations where you don't pass and try to take into consideration the whole picture in case you don't pass. What is the best case to choose for Capstone 1? So we're going to be looking at a number of different scenarios. But again, I just want to make it clear that our job is to obviously help you pass. And that is the goal. And I should also point out, it is quite reasonable given that it is a pretty high pass rate, and day 1 on the CFE is actually higher than day 2 and day 3. So who is passed? Just very quickly, we've been doing this for a lot of years. We've been offering courses to help people get through the CPA. We run the PwC program across Canada. Michael, one of the two partners, Michael and myself, run the school. He's a former gold medalist. He obviously did very well. Okay, now, as you probably know, people from India or Pakistan do not have to take the technical modules or Capstone 1 and 2. You can go directly towards the CFE. Let's look at day 1 of the CFE. What is it? Day 1 is one case for 4 hours. It is based on the case they used in Capstone 1. They take the same company and they say it's 5 or 10 years later. They mark it separately from day 2 and 3. It's a pass-fail by itself. It's not supposed to be technical. It really is encompassing things like strategy, governance, SWOT. It's really as if you were doing a presentation to the board of directors. But you have a choice. You have a choice between 2 companies or cases, whichever word you want to use here. Let's now look at the various situations. Let's start with your writing in May of 2021, the CFE. Okay. The choice is going to be between distinct hotels, which is a second version. The reason it's version 2 is because the same company was used in September 2020. Or you can write waste disposal, which has not been used yet, and that's going to be version 1. Let's assume you're a first-time writer writing in May. And let's assume that hopefully you think you're going to pass. If that's the case, we recommend you write distinct hotels. The simple reason is there are more cases to practice on, because they used another version of distinct hotel in September of 2020. And you can look at that entire case and the whole solution. So if you assume, hopefully you're going to pass, write distinct hotels as a first-time writer in May. But if you're being a little more conservative and you're worried you may not pass, if you fail in May of 2021, you're not allowed to write in September 2021. That's their rule. So then I guess most people would probably write a year later in May of 2022. The problem is in May of 2022, you cannot write, the problem is in May of 2022, not the problem, there was only one case that you'll be familiar with if you wrote it in May of 2021, and that is waste disposal. They're not going to offer another distinct hotels. The last distinct hotels will be September 2021. You can't write then. So if you're worried you may not pass, probably you'd write in May of 2022. You might as well write waste disposal in 2021, because then you could write waste disposal, the same case, the same company, a second time, and you would not have to learn about a different one. So what this really comes down to is kind of your perception. If you're hoping you're going to pass, and I would think most people would be in this category, then write the one on the previous slide, write distinct hotels because you have more to practice on. But if you're very worried for whatever reason that you're not going to pass, then write waste disposal, because then the following year, if you don't pass, you can write that a second time. The same company without learning about a different company. Now, what if I'm a repeat writer in May of 2021? So now it depends, okay, you're a repeat writer. When did you write the first time? Well, if you wrote in September 2020, then it's a no-brainer. Write another version of distinct hotels in May of 2021. You already know the case. But if you wrote previous to September 2020 and you don't know distinct hotels, then you're in the same situation as we talked about on the previous two slides. You're kind of like a first-time writer, and then it will be your perception on if you think you're going to pass the second time in May of 2021, hopefully. Then you should simply follow the guidance I just said in the previous two slides. So I think that takes into consideration all the different situations for May of 2021. Now let's talk about September 2021. Here are your choices: another version of Distinct Hotels, version 3, or a new one called Creative Toys, version 1. Once again, if you think you'll pass, you're a first-time writer, you assume you're going to pass, write Distinct Hotels. You'll have more cases to practice on, the same logic as we said in May. But if you're a first-time writer and you're worried you may not pass, now we have another question. Okay, when are you going to write? Are you going to write the next time in May of 2022 or September? If you're going to write in May of 2022, you will have to write a new case, a new company, because they're not going to give Creative Toys or Distinct Hotels. So if that's the case, if you fail in September, you will write in May, the next opportunity, then you might as well write Distinct Hotels in September because there's more cases to practice on. But if you think, no, I won't write in May for whatever reason, hopefully I won't fail in September, but if I fail in September, I'll have to wait another year and I'll write the next September. If that's the case, then write Creative Toys, because Creative Toys will be offered the following September, so you won't have to learn a new case. So, people, those are all the different, I'm hoping, permutations for first-time writers for September. Now, what if I'm a repeat writer in September 2021? If you were unsuccessful in 2020, you know Distinct Hotels. It's a no-brainer. Write version 3 in September 2021. But if you're a repeat writer in September and you had written previously before 2020, if that's the case, you don't know either Creative Toys or Distinct Hotels, then go back, just like we said before, go back to the first-time writers in September 2021 and follow what I just said in the previous slides. Okay, so people, look, we hope you're going to pass. This is really just to give you a nice summary of, all the different choices, to give you a little guidance on what to choose. If you need any more information, here is our contact information. We do provide a lot of support to our students. We know that people have questions, whether they live in Canada or they live in India or Pakistan. And we are available by email or by WhatsApp to answer questions. It's a big part of our program, is really to help students. Our goal is to help you pass. I hope everyone who is listening to this found this useful in helping you choose which Capstone 1 case to write.